This is I Said It, the poet, representing the Chicago Bridge Magazine, home of the legendary Roy Ayers music reviews, interviews, and articles. Today I have more than a pleasure to be here with the man. Hey, yo, this man is Mark Prophet, the published author and writer, straight up. And if you haven't heard, he has a book called The Perfect Poetry, Spiritual Key to Success. You need to cop that. Barnes & Noble, and how else can they reach the book? I forgot.
Barnes & Noble, theperfectpoetry.com, Amazon.com, iBook, everywhere the books are sold. That book is sold also.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So when I was reading, going through your book, I came across a poem called The Perfect Takeover. You know, what is the inspiration behind that? You know.
Okay. Well, I'm a military veteran. Actually, I'm a disabled military veteran, and I was in the military for 13 years, and I served in Iraq, and I also served in Afghanistan. And I served in Iraq in 2003 at a young age, and I recently served in Afghanistan probably 2-3 years ago. And just with my military experience, you know, a lot of people, they just see what's going on TV, and I actually experienced it. And I experienced it at an intellectual level also. When I was in Afghanistan, I was working with the Federal Bureau of Investigations, and I just learned a lot of things about the government and their reasoning for being at war. And then basically, when I was over there, when we was in Iraq, you know, it wasn't really just about just going over there to kill Saddam or whatever. It was just what was just displayed to everyone on the news. You know, everything is about money. That's what it's about, and that's what I learned. And same thing with Afghanistan. You know, it wasn't just about finding Bin Laden. You know, it's about, like I said, the takeover. And that's what it's about. And now, if you believe that the people who ran Afghanistan, or that Afghanistan people rule and control Afghanistan now, then you're a fool, basically, because our people, we run that. The Americans run that, basically. They took over that. That's their country, just like Iraq is their country, you know. And I can't put everything out there, but basically that's what the poem states. You know, it's about the perfect takeover, and it's my experience. I'm not speaking on no third party, listening to a third party. I'm not speaking on something I've seen on TV. I'm actually speaking on me actually being over there and, you know, being at war and working directly with the Federal Bureau of Investigations.
Wow, that's deep. That's deep. Hey, check it out. For the audience, you know, for those who haven't seen you perform, you give us a little piece of, you know, one of your poems. The one that I like to hear, that I liked in your book as well, was it's called The Perfect Trap.
Perfect Trap.
Yeah,
that's a good one. Okay. The Perfect Trap, that's basically, like I said before, it's basically like, to me, through my studies, how the it's one of the traps that was set, or a few of the traps that was set to degrade the black race and to bring us down. And I performed it plenty of times before. Here it goes, right? Okay, just like you requested, I'm going to perform The Perfect Trap, which is a poem out of my book, The Perfect Poetry, Spiritual Key to Success by Mark Prophet. This group of individuals must be stopped before they take over. They practice togetherness, unity, mind stimulation, but their minds must be made over. If we bring down the head, then the body will fall afterwards. So let's aim at their leaders and hope their progression move backwards. Their women depend on the men, which keeps the family together and sets the example for the children. This is going to cost us some money. But now you don't need the men. We gave you free food, money, living. What have we done? Now the families are forming groups, saving money, and the fathers are still a sustainment. Let's minimize their job opportunities. Give the groups drugs to sell and take away good times, then glorify black entertainment. This is our project, forming families where the mother is the president. And to benefit from the projects, the father cannot be a resident. They're falling. They're falling. And if we continue this process, their children will be lost and devastated. There will be no structure. Mothers will be on drugs, and fathers who sell them will be incarcerated. Let's never tell them they were kings, but only slaves from a place filled with poverty and dissatisfaction. Make them think they're useless and we're superior. Because if you control one's thinking, you control one's actions. That's the perfect trap, ladies and gentlemen.
Sir, yes, sir. That was tight. That was tight.
Appreciate it, man.
Some of the best I ever heard right there. Hey, so check it out as well. Again, thank you for that, and I'm sure the audience out there will appreciate that as well. So I want to ask you too, like, what are some of your future goals when it comes to already being a published author and so forth? What are some more of your goals in life?
Okay, basically, I want to become more than just a public author. I want to become a New York Times best-selling author. That's one of my goals. And I'm into music right now. I'm actually signed with the Private Plane, which is Malik Yusuf label, which is the son label of Good Music, which is Kanye West label. So I'm basically signed with their labels right now, and I'm doing some ghostwriting with them, and I've been performing with them. And also I have a song out with Malik on his album called Warpath. You'll see me at the end of that. You'll hear me at the end of that song. So I want to advance my music career also, coming out with a mixtape, and it's mostly like inspirational rap, something that the our youth can gravitate to, but at the same time, it got a message still. And I want to get into acting basically also, and that's what I used to do. I took a lot of acting classes, and that's my passion, that's my goal. My main goal is to get into acting, so I'm definitely going towards that. And lastly, I want to become a great entrepreneur. And right now, with my business, my tax and credit business, that's just the start of the entrepreneurial life. So I'm trying to keep basically doing that. And in my eyes, I believe, and I have nothing against anyone, if you work for someone's company, I believe that's still a form of slavery, basically. So I believe that you're still working on a plantation. I believe slavery still exists, in my eyes, in my beliefs, different people believe different things, but when you was picking cotton on the field, you was getting paid low wages, and the person who owned the cotton field was getting all the money. He was living great, and he was having many experiencing things in life that the person that's picking the cotton couldn't even imagine. So I believe they made, instead of being a field, they put it in a building now, and they gave you air conditioning. They increased the wages a little more, but they're making more money, So someone who's probably working at Walmart and stocking the shelves on Walmart, it's the same thing as picking the cotton field.
Right.
They're not getting nearly as much as the person who owns the Walmart, So, and that's my thing is I believe that we don't believe in ourselves enough where we can we actually own a plantation. And since I took that step to actually try to own a plantation, I saw people's responses, and it was just amazing to me, like, wow, oh my God, you're gonna quit a $35 an hour job, or you make $75,000, they're paying you good, they're paying us good here, And I was like, well, this guy's making $7 million, So I'm making $75,000. I believe I'm just intelligent as him to make that amount of money. So that's my goal also, is to have my own plantation, and not have my own plantation and be satisfied that I have slaves working for me, but to train those slaves or those individuals that work for me to actually own their own plantation also. And I think I'll be happy inside once I can see that I created plantation owners myself, through my knowledge that I obtained. As I was going through my trials and tribulations in my life, and I was studying on how to overcome those trials and tribulations, and as I studied how to overcome those trials and tribulations, I had the answers then, and my life became more happier, When I was going through my relationship problems, I studied, okay, man, this is how a relationship should be. Right. And once I found out and gained all that knowledge, I basically put it into writing. So in this book, you have 38 different poems, and every poem is the perfect something. I got the perfect wife, which tell you how the perfect wife should be. I also have the perfect husband, which tell you how the perfect husband should be. And I have the perfect murder, which tell you how people are murdering and killing themselves by consuming different poisons, basically, like cigarettes and stuff like that. I got the perfect trap, which tell you how the black race is right now, how we got trapped to be how we are right now, and basically how another race took us down. They trapped us by setting so many traps that we all fall for. And this is everything is just through my studies and my knowledge, and I just put it in the form of poetry, basically. So it's entertaining, and like it's everything right. Every poem has a rhythm. It rhymes basically, so it's just an entertaining book basically, but it has a lot of knowledge also.
I was able to check out your book briefly myself, and man, I can honestly say this is a very impactful book. Please go out and get your copy. How can people order this copy if they want to do it maybe online or something?
Yeah, it's available everywhere. Basically, it's available at Barnes and Noble, all Barnes and Noble. It's available on Amazon.com, iBook, eNook, everywhere that they sell books. Basically, you can type it in and it'll come up. Type in "The Perfect Poetry" by Mark Prophet, and you'll get it.
Okay, as another question I'd like to ask, you know I was talking to you earlier, you was talking about like what inspired you to even start writing? Is this something you just began to do, or have you been doing this for a while?
Okay, when I was younger, I was actually a good writer. When I was younger, I won different contests. Like even when I was young, at the age of 8 years old, I won the DARE contest, DARE essay.
Yeah,
I remember that, drug abuse resistance education.
Yeah.
Basically, it was like we had an essay contest. It was like 150 of us in the school. I probably was like 10 years old, and I won that contest, and that right there built my confidence up and let me know, okay, wow, I'm a great writer, you know. And as you know, we get programmed through the educational system, you know, I was looking more towards being a police officer and, you know, and working for somebody instead of actually working on my skills and my goals and my talent that I had. So I kind of got lost with the writing, basically. And usually when we get lost, we need to find ourselves. And I had got a job as a correctional officer working at Stateville Correctional Center. And I was actually, they put me in a tower by myself every day. And if anybody know anything about meditating or just having a lot of time by yourself, you usually find yourself. You know, you find your spiritual being, and you start doing what you do naturally. And that's what God really put you in for. That's what your talent is. That's what you're supposed to be doing. Is the things that you do naturally. If you color all the time without somebody telling you to do it, then you're an artist. You should be coloring and painting or whatever it may be. You know, people just be building stuff just to build it and they like doing it, but you know, at the same time they go in to be an accountant or a lawyer, but on their spare time they just love building stuff. You know, that's what they need to be doing. So when I was in this tower as a correctional officer by myself, naturally, I just started writing, you know, just naturally I just started writing, started doodling, and I believe the first poem I wrote was "The Perfect Trap." And I was just doing my studies at the time and seeing like how the black race became how they were, and I was like, wow, I just started writing about it, and it was like the perfect trap. It was finished, it was complete before I knew it. And I started reciting it to different people, especially inmates at the prison. I started reciting it to them, and they gave me their honest opinion. They was just like, wow, like, man, you should be on TV with this. Like, man, you're talented, you know, and they kept motivating me, you know, and I was discouraged, like, okay, man, maybe, you know, man, I don't think I'm gonna write it like that, or, you know, I'm a correctional officer, you know, I'm not a writer. But basically having more time by myself, I got to know myself, and like I said, naturally I kept on writing, and next thing you know, I was doing different things as I was studying. I was applying that to my writing. Like I said, you know, when I was going through things in my relationship, I wrote about that and how to overcome that. And next thing you know, I just had this collection of poems that was just self-help. You know, so once I read it, you know, it even inspired me, you know. If I'm down or if I'm out, I'll go to a certain poem, you know, and I'll read it, you know, that's related to whatever I was going through at the time. And it'll help me. And I'm like, wow, you know, I feel better now after I read this, you know. So at that time, I was like, man, you know what? No, even before I even decided to make it a book, it was other people that was going through things. And when they was going through it, I would go to my book, you know, and I go to a certain page, you know. Like someone was going through a relationship problem and he was hurt from his girl, and he was actually in the tower with me. Sometimes they put guys in the tower with you. And he was just, you know, hurt. He couldn't even live his day out because he was always thinking about it. And I said, man, let me read something to you called The Perfect Strength. And I read The Perfect Strength to him, and it was like, he was like, wow, like, man, that makes sense, man, you know, and it actually helped him. Yeah. And he thanked me, you know what I'm saying, days and days after that. So I was like, wow, maybe I need to make this into a book, you know, and that's exactly what I did. Then I started researching on how to create a book, you know, and with me having the time that I had, I was able to to follow those steps that I actually looked for and found.
Okay, yeah. Both myself as well. Poetry is like very therapeutic for yourself. You know, it's crazy how you go out your way to do something for somebody else, but then finds its way back home. You know, with that being said, I just want to take a break real quick. We're gonna get right back to Mark Prophet.
Appreciate it.
Well respected. Hey, so please tell the people out there how they can reach you, through social media.
Okay, Mark Prophet 100 on Instagram, and Facebook / Mark Prophet on Facebook, and my website is theperfectpoetry.com, theperfectpoetry.com. And you can email me at theperfectpoetry@gmail.com.
Michael, I said the poet representing Chicago Bridge Magazine, home of the legendary Roy Ayers, music artist.
Well, we didn't cross the borders, but the borders crossed us. Forked tongue speakers, they orders crossed us. Double, looks like trouble. And this information can come in handy, man. And we are super suited for some alterations to all the nations. Post-racial America, yeah, but I got some reservations. We need to address the situation going on in Darfur. I know you wasn't really aware, but that's what friends are for. What do you really need a fifth car for? What course is this par for? Try to shine some light in the middle of darkness. Where you think God made me a star for? Outside of the 5 and 6, there's a real Star War. When it's me fighting the other me, fighting my urges and my sleeping surges. That's when the real fight emerges.
Let's take the fathers out of the home. It'll create more crime. Give them drugs to sell. Or wait a little more time. Did she give you a clip and gat and said it's wartime? No, she gave me a pen and pad and said it's your time. Niggas in the hood holding weight like a carjack. Mark Prophet and Yusuf touching hoods like a coat rack. And Dia killed at 14 is the reason I spit. Lil' homies copping out age 14 is the reason I spit. Because our racists having mental abortions inside. Not aborting babies, but dreams had. Not the things that our queens had, but the things that Martin Luther King had. It's a different world because my people sin bad. Won't cross the borders, rather war where they sleep at.